Hi guys, welcome back to the Mina Does Art Stuff YouTube channel. My name is Mina and on this channel we do art stuff. Welcome back. This is part 2 of my Jackson's birthday haul type video, I guess. And today we are going to do some swatching of all of these supplies. Most of this video will probably be voiceover or set to music or a mixture of both. We have our floors being standard today and I'm just trying to film this intro whilst there's a break between all the noise. So apologies for this weird lighting. I have a roof light window just off here on the side and there's only so much I can do. I've closed the blind but there's still like a couple of streaks of light coming through. Anyway, I will hold up all the swatches and everything at the end once everything's been done. I'm going to swatch on this paper that I have behind me. It is 100% cotton paper, so it will allow the colours to look their best, as it were. And then at the end, because I'm going to be squeezing out a little bit of each colour onto this palette, if there's like some colours left over, I'll test out the Etcher watercolour postcards and I'll do like a little quickie painting. I haven't figured out what that's going to be yet, but that will also be coming up at the end of this video. And as usual, I will have everything linked below this video, so if there's anything you're interested in you can go ahead and find it. Before I jump into this, if you haven't already, please subscribe, give this video a like, leave me a comment, let me know what supplies you're interested in out of the stuff that I've got, and yeah, if there's anything in particular you're looking forward to seeing in the future on the channel. Okay, and with that, okay guys, so I just about managed to get through that intro before the sanding started up again. Yeah, so as you can see here, I'm just getting everything prepped, squeezing out a little bit of each of the colours that are in tubes, and then I'll get round to unwrapping the White Nights watercolour pans as well. Okay, so first up I did all the gouache paints across the top and down the right hand side. Now I'm squeezing out a bit of all the watercolour tubes, and yeah, there's not much to say right now. I'm literally just getting set up to start swatching. So the White Nights watercolours, the pans are labelled with a code, like a 3-digit code, which I guess is their numbering system for their colours, but I always write on the colourway, the colour name, pigment information, and then I'll just put like a WN for White Nights, just so I can keep track in case I move them to anywhere else. And snap, we're ready to get started. So I'm just getting everything set up across the top so it looks pretty throughout the video for you guys to look at, and then we're going to get to swatching. So start with the White Nights. We've got the Lavender. It's a really pretty colour. It's fairly opaque but watered out. It's really lovely. Then we've got Ultramarine Violet, which again is another beautiful shade of like a granulating purple. Then Geranium Red, which is a really nice warm red. I don't use a lot of warm reds, but that sort of Geranium Red colour is a PR254 and it's definitely a colour I enjoy. Then we have Naples Orange, which is, again, I don't typically have oranges on my palette, but I'm trying to expand a little bit, and that's a beautiful shade of orange. Then we have Raw Sienna, followed by the Lucas colours, Aurelian, Permanent Orange, and Verona Green Earth. The Verona Green Earth is a beautiful shade. And then we have the Sennelier Quin Red, which is a beautiful sort of corally pinky red, and the M. Graham Viridian, and I did a little swatch showing what those colours look like mixed together. And then we have the Shinhan PwC Tint A set, which is Jaune Brilliant, Shell Pink, Purple Grey, Lilac, Blue Grey, and Green Pale. And then we move on to the Shinhan Designer's Gouache. The first one I swatched as Pearl White, and as soon as I squeezed it out of the tube I realised the mistake I made in purchasing this colour. But it's fine, I'll find a use for it. It's actually kind of like a glittery, shimmery white, like a pearlescent white rather than a white. And to be fair, the pigment number PW20 should have clued me into that, because I think that's the pigment code for like mica or something. Anyway, you can see there I'm swatching out the rest of those colours, and yeah, these colours are really bright, very opaque, and here I'm just doing some little colour mixing swatches a lot across the bottom with some of the different shades. I was pleasantly surprised by how opaque the Shinhan gouache was without having to add any additional white to the mixes, and so that was definitely a pleasant surprise, and I will definitely be enjoying using these gouache paints. And actually, since recording this video, I have gone ahead and used up the rest of the paints on the palette in some other paintings, as well as some paintings you'll see later in this video, and they were they worked really well to reconstitute from dry. They remained opaque and they were just really lovely to use. Okay, so here we have some close-ups. We've got the Lavender, Ultramarine Violet. The Ultramarine Violet has some lovely soft granulation. The Geranium Red, the Naples Orange, again, it's a very beautiful shade. It's a bit more on the opaque side. And then the Raw Sienna. Then we have the Aurelian, which is a PY175, so it's like a lemon yellow sort of shade. Then the Permanent Orange, which is really beautiful. The Verona Green Earth is stunning. And the Quin Red and Viridian mixed together create this really beautiful sort of like purpley black colour. And then we have the pastel sort of tint colours from Shinhan. The Purple Grey is really beautiful. I really like that one. And the Jaune Brilliant is really good for sort of like creating other pastel tones in mixes. And then we have the Pearl White. You can see it's actually not too bad in terms of opacity, and here I'm tilting the paper so you can see the shimmer in that paint. It's not super like glittery, but it's definitely got a shine to it. And then we've got the other colours, and you can see how opaque those colours are. I really should have done them over like a black line or something, but I didn't think about it, so there we go. I think the Peacock Blue out of all of them was probably the most transparent. And then we've got some lovely mixes, just a few of the colours mixed together to just sort of see what we could come up with. And yeah, really enjoyed how these worked out. Then what I decided to do was to take a couple of sheets of those, or a couple of postcards from the Etcher Lab watercolour postcard set that I had ordered, and yeah, I decided to do a couple of sample paintings as well, so why not? Let's get to that in just a second. And there we go, got the first one all set up. I sort of sketched out a really rough sort of loose landscape, and I was just going to do some sort of colour blocking. I used mostly the gouache, I think, if not entirely just the gouache for this piece, and I might have mixed in some of the pastel tones from the Shinhan colours just to mix them in there, why not? Watercolour and gouache are fairly similar in that they're both water-based mediums, so you can actually mix them as well, which is what I did here with some of them. And I will be honest, I don't think my colour choices were necessarily completely the best for this, but I'm not entirely unhappy with how this little scene turned out. I feel like the different sections of the landscape, like the different hills, could have had better colour definition between them, so I should have gone for better stronger colour changes, I guess, within the same sort of colour family between the hills, so you can actually see where one ends and the other one begins. But like I said, I just sort of made this up on the fly as I was going, and I was just testing out the materials. The watercolour postcards worked out really well, and I think they would work out pretty good for what I had in mind, either using them as postcards or like I mentioned in the haul video, using them to do paintings on and then sticking them onto blank cards to create your own handmade cards. And yeah, so now I was creating like a lovely sort of orange, because yellow is the complement to purple and orange is the complement to blue, and so we have like a turquoisey blue sky and purple hills, so I was going for something like an orangey yellow, but it definitely turned out more orange than yellow. But overall it's not too bad. And yeah, so here I'll be peeling off the tape in just 1 second after I finish rinsing my brush. I feel like that's going on for ages there in the corner. Okay, I think I'm done now. Alright, so here comes the tape peel. It's always the most satisfying part. And I will be honest, the masking tape worked well on the Etcher watercolour paper. There was no tearing that I can recall. There were a couple of places where the gouache sort of leaked under in some of the corners, but I think that's probably more because I hadn't pressed down the tape properly to create a good seal. So you can see there on the bottom right, there's a little bit that got past the line, and a bit on the top right as well, but nothing terrible. And if I just took more care when I applied the tape, this probably would not have even been an issue at all. So there is the first little picture done. Really like how it turned out, and had I been patient and not peeled off the tape while the paper was still wet, it probably would have dried completely flat and would have been perfectly fine. Okay, so next I decided to do a little floral piece. I'm mixing up a couple of different colours here, trying to decide what sort of colour palette to go with, and I think I end up sticking with like the pinks, like the pinky red sort of tones for this one. And so this is again a fairly loose little composition, just two or three I think I did in the end, flowers, and then lots of leaves and stuff around them in the end. So nothing super elaborate. I really loved mixing greens using that Verona Green Earth. The Verona Green Earth, I can't remember who it was now who recommended that colour to me, but thank you so much. It is such a beautiful shade, and if you like a granulating green, that is a similar hue to like a Viridian but a bit more opaque and not quite the same as Viridian, then it's definitely one to go for. And it mixes really beautiful greens when mixed with other yellows and blues and stuff, so it's a really good sort of base colour to start from for mixing greens. And here I switched to that rigger brush that I got from the Jackson's haul as well, and I used it to do some detailing in the centres of the flowers, and then I decided to do some loose sketchy outlines to the flowers and some of the leaves as well, so I used the rigger brush for that. And yeah, this sort of loose outlining detail thing is something that I'm enjoying at the moment with my looser watercolour floral pieces. So yeah, I've been enjoying doing that. And here comes the tape peel again. Like I said, it peels off really beautifully, and if I was a more patient person, I would wait for the paper to dry and be flat before I take off the tape, but I'm too impatient for that. So there we go. And that's what it looks like. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and if you'd like, turn on the notification bell. That way you'll be notified every time I upload a video. My upload schedule is a little bit sporadic at the moment, but there is loads of content coming your way. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.